Yeah, good afternoon, Kirby. I meant to ask you this about yesterday, but Coach Rick's going to be honored at halftime of the game Saturday. I know you guys have a better than usual relationship, but could you just talk about him being honored and what, if anything, he meant to you being able to do what you've done here?
Yeah, Coach Rick and Catherine, their family just have been tremendous to myself and Mary Beth. I think my career was probably similar to his in terms of coming up, being a GA, growing up. We both GA'd kind of under Coach Bowden, and I think he met his wife at that time, met Catherine, and then I kind of went on I went on my career, and then bounced back. At the time I was at LSU, and Nick went to Miami. I ended up getting hired. Coach Rick gave me an opportunity to coach running backs, which I'd never done. He showed a lot of confidence in me as a coach, and learned a lot from him. Learned a lot about being the right kind of person and how to run an organization the right way. And it's meant a lot to my career. And I was really only with him for 1 year, but I always followed him from afar because, he was at my alma mater and respected the job he did. And he certainly made this a really good job from the way he built everything and the things he did the time he was here. And it's always been very fertile in terms of people and players in the state, but he's meant so much to so many. I think when you talk to the players, that I know all the guys that played for him, I've seen so many alumni and players that have just, they come back to events and they just rave about their relationship. And you see guys like Terrence Edwards and, Ben Watson and these great players that just respect Coach Rick and the things he did for this university. I certainly feel the same way and couldn't be prouder to be honoring him. And he's reached out to me so many times where, he and Catherine have said, hey, we're praying for you and your family. I mean, back when I was at Alabama, and it just meant a lot that he did those things. But I'm glad he's doing it, and I know our fan base will be there to recognize him.
Thank you.
Kirby, on a more X's and O's or game topic, your thoughts on what Missouri has with their quarterback situation. I guess again, you probably won't know until closer to the game time, or maybe later in the week with Bazelak, and then they have Macon to play the other day. I guess what's the difference with their guys behind Bazelak?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more difference in the Tyler Macon kid, the kid that played a little more, an athlete, got a really strong arm, but a good athlete. I mean, would be, similar to Anthony Richardson type in terms of athleticism. And they can do some different things. He's got some really tough run game when he plays with a guy like that, because he's got some tough plays to defend. And they've also got Brady Cook, who played a little bit against us last year and has played some this year, who's more like Bazelak. So, we're up in the air as far as we don't know whether, we're preparing for Tyler Macon, whether we're preparing for Cook, or whether Bazelak will be able to play some. So we don't really know. It's probably tougher prep than last week because they were more similar last week as quarterbacks. There is a distinct difference when the Macon kid's in.
All right, let's go to Mike Griffith, and then we'll go to Anthony Dasher.
Coach, can you update us? Is Amir Speed? Is he at 100%? And how did the quarterbacks look today and yesterday?
Quarterbacks have looked great. They've both done a tremendous job. Really pleased with where they're at. Amir has been good. He played in the Florida game. He started on kickoff return. Wanted to use him on some more on special teams and things. Just didn't know how much he'd be able to handle and tolerate. But he felt pretty good. I think he was like at 80-85%. And he had a great rep on kickoff return that helped spring Kieres for that opening kickoff return. And he's practiced this week, and I don't know if he's 100%, but he's certainly much closer to it. He feels more confident in it.
Hey, Coach, let me follow up with the quarterback question. Will Stetson be starting this weekend? And in regard to JT shaking off, any rust, how much of a necessity is it that he's able to continue to do that in these 4 remaining regular season games?
I think it's important for both of them to continue to develop, make good decisions. I mean, part of playing quarterback is accuracy, decision-making, mobility. Those things are the critical factors. I mean, anybody can hand it off. We all know that. And anybody can make our run checks and decisions. But it's the decisions when the ball's in your hand and you're having to make decisions where you're going with it, where you're throwing it, all those things that are the biggest deciding factors. But yeah, I'm pleased with where both of them are.
Is Stetson going to be starting again?
Like I said, I'm pleased with where both of them are, and I think both of them are doing a great job.
Let's take the next two questions from Dean Legge and then Tyler Griffith.
Kirby, the rankings come out tonight, and it looks like y'all will be one. What procedures do you have in place? What do y'all do as a program to make sure the coaches and the players are not satisfied, for lack of a better term, after a big win over the Gators, and then whatever coronation, if you want to call it that, would there be tonight?
Well, they've had this night 7 times, and I would dare y'all to know how many of those 7 actually won the national championship. Anybody got an answer? Take a guess.
0?
I'm guessing 0.
1's the answer. So my point would be to the players, and I made the point today, and will continue to make the point. Why? Why did only 1 of the 7 win it? And it's pretty easy, because it either went to their head, it affected them. They didn't continue to grow and get better. And, the narrative out there will be, people will say, I'm not saying this because I certainly don't think it's true at all. But the narrative is what distorts young people's mind that they read on social media and things, that there's this, upper echelon of teams, and then there's this other group. And I don't think that's the case at all. I don't see it that way. I see every team in that top 10, top 15 capable of beating each other any given Saturday. So what we better do is distance ourselves from everybody else and get better, because we got some tough roads coming down the pipe starting this week and every week to follow when you play in the SEC. So that's our concern, is not that. We're not worried about that. I told them they could tune in and watch the Braves, but there's no need to watch the other, because that's not what's important. And it's distorted at least 6 other teams' mind enough for them not to make it there.
Hey, so Zamir White broke the 100, had his first 100-yard rushing game of the season last week. Can you just talk about what he means, with so much experience in this, he bought in to the program in the running back room?
What he's meant to us?
Yeah. With sharing carries with other guys and,
Yeah, the sharing carries is more for his health than anything else. I don't think a guy can play in the SEC and tote it that many times anymore. I mean, it gets tough. I saw it with Derrick Henry and seen it with other guys. It's hard to do and sustain. So what he's done is incredible in terms of carrying the workload, the leadership, the work ethic. I mean, there's not a day he comes out to practice he doesn't practice hard. And the best thing about it is he takes care of his body. He does a tremendous job. I see him come across my office outside my window right here, where he's walking back and forth, and I'm texting him, "What are you doing?" "I'm coming to treatment. I'm leaving treatment. I'm getting extra treatment. I'm taking care of my body so I can be effective." And he's just a great leader.
Let's take the next two questions from Jake Rowe and then Seth Emerson.
Kirby, where do you feel like, I know it's tough to kind of maybe put a number on this, and I don't know that I would ask you to anyway, but in terms of your receiver room, and where you were maybe 2-3 weeks ago to where you are now, how much different is it? How much healthier is it? And how close are you maybe to 100% in that room, as far as the guys available and the guys who can maybe make an impact for you?
Are you asking me to put a number on it?
I said I wouldn't ask you to do that. I was just kind of qualitative, not quantitative.
I don't know what that means.
Put a number on it.
I don't.
No, I mean,
I can go through each guy. I don't understand what you're asking.
I'm asking.
Are you talking about George? George is not back, right?
Right. Yeah.
Somebody wrote that Dom was back. Dom's not back. Dom did routes on air for the first time in 3 weeks. He just,
right.
He ran 16, 17 miles an hour. He's a 20, 21 mile an hour guy. So he's not back. Justin Robinson is not back. And outside of that, those 3, I think we have everybody else trying to approach. I don't think Marcus Rosenby is still not 100%. And he's coming off of an ankle and a significant, the break from last year. So he's working his way back, but he's playing, like you compare it to Auburn, I think we're 30, 40% better than we were when we played Auburn, because we were really struggling going into that game. But we're not 100% still. I mean, that's just, nobody is. Nobody is at this point.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Kirby, all my questions were taken, but let me just see on Pickens and Blaylock, like what are the chances before the SEC championship they play?
I don't know on. I really don't know on either one. I think Blaylock will have an opportunity because of what he was able to do yesterday and today. I think he's like headed in the right direction. He's actually taken the brace off. So this is, I think he's 14 months post ACL. So it's like not about the ACL. He's got to get confidence in that knee and confidence through practice. Well, his practice has been hindered by his hamstring, and it's ironic because the brace bothers his hamstring. And he feels like that's part of the reason he pulled. I think it was the last time y'all were there, he pulled. So he's been this big gap. But I think he's got a chance. I don't know on George because, we meet medically periodically with Dr. Andrews, who did the surgery. And Dr. Andrews has been very positive with him. He's done Cybex testing. There's 9 million tests you do to see where you are. And he's at like 85% to 99%. To some things, he's actually stronger on the injured leg than the other leg. So he's like come a long way, but there's no timetable yet to say SEC championship or not. We think he may be cleared to practice possibly before then, but we just don't know. I do know he's got a meeting set up with Dr. Andrews here in the near future that he's going to get to go meet with him and his mom, and they get to visit and share things. And he got that at the Auburn game. That's why he went with us, because he got to meet with Dr. Andrews for another update.
Okay, let's take the next two, Palmer Toms and then Vance Levy.
Kirby, when you get ahead big in a game, what goes into the decision factor? What factors into the decision on when to take the starters out and put some of the second string guys in? And I guess specifically with the quarterbacks this past weekend, what was it that kept JT on the sideline?
There was nothing really that kept him. I mean, every game we talk on the headphones. We have a 2-hour meeting in the morning before the game to go through how we plan to play the players. And we don't always decide that until the day of the game. And how to play the players is something that at least every coach I know goes through. And you used to be about red shirts and how many reps guys would get and whether guys would play. And it's really more about situational. Situations decided if a guy gets hurt, who's going in. If this guy goes to right tackle, he goes to left tackle. You go through all those things. We do all those things and we talk about them. And then in the game, there is another discussion of, when is the game out of hand? When is it not? And how are we playing the game? A lot of times if you're playing to run the clock out, then it's not necessarily beneficial for a guy to go in and hand the ball off or do that. And then in other games, you're trying to score. You go back to whatever game it was, Carson Beck, we were throwing the ball, trying to grow him and get him better when we had the pick six. So every game I think is different. We make the decision based on what we think is best for the team.
Kirby, how are the last 2 days of practice coming off the, highly charged emotional Florida win? And then looking back to your 1 year as the running backs coach, what did you get most out of that helped as not only being a DC, but then also being the head coach, learning more about the running backs room?
Last two practices have been great. They've really been good. I mean, there's been no letdown, hangover, or any of that. They practiced really good Monday, and they practiced really good today. There's been a unique buy-in to Tuesday, Wednesdays wins games. So let's go win it on Tuesday, Wednesday, and very spirited, competitive, physical, good practices. The good news is we've had enough legs between speed getting back and the wideouts feeling like they're closer to 100%. Jermaine and Arian specifically, we've been able to get a few more reps than we had in the past. We had to cut reps way down before. As far as the year experience running back, it was invaluable because I got to sit in a room with Neil Callaway, Mike Bobo, Coach Rick, and hear how they think about things. And, I was charged with watching the defenses, which I thought was really cool, and trying to tell them what the defense was doing or thinking. And I got to listen to game planning, how they went about third down, second down. It helped me tremendously in terms of how does an offensive guy look at it? And I wish I had done a better job learning then, because it's been invaluable throughout the years I've been on defense.
Okay, we got time for 2 more questions. Let's go to Connor Riley, and then we'll finish up with Jed May.
Hey, Kirby, what are some of the difficulties as a coach in terms of recruiting in season and balancing all that with what you obviously have going on every week on the practice fields?
The difficulties of recruiting in season is time management. I mean, it's just you have to make a choice of how much you want to commit to game plan, how much you want to commit to player development and player relationships and mental health of your players, and how much you want to commit to, recruiting. And it's not an easy balance. I mean, in season is extremely hard. So our coaches, I think, do a tremendous job at night after our meetings. Sometimes we get done at 9, 10. Each night it's different. Wednesday night we get done after practice. So that's kind of our night that we recruit hard, and we communicate with each other what's going on. And then Thursday night we do the same. But just a balance, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you feel like's best. And certainly when we have home games, it makes it easier.
Yeah, Kirby, I wanted to ask you again just about Keely Ringo. Just how has he developed, I guess maybe specifically from a leadership standpoint over the course of this year? I know we talked yesterday about him, trying to hold a teammate accountable on the field on Saturday. And I know you said, maybe in the middle of the game isn't the time for that, but from a leadership standpoint, I guess, what have you seen from him? And, is that a positive step in the right direction for him?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest, Keely's not really a leader yet. He's still figuring things out. Now, he has leadership qualities, but you're talking about a defense full of some alpha males now. And he's still figuring all that out. He's learning how to lead and set an example, and it wasn't more of a getting on a teammate as much as it was his teammate messed up and he knew it. And he knew he was right, and he just didn't necessarily handle it the right way. But I'm proud of Keely. Keely's come a long way. He's still got a long way to go, but he's come a long way because, this young man did not practice one time from the time he had the surgery last year. So I'm very pleased with where he's come. I'm proud of the way he works, and he's gotten a lot tougher, contact tough, and he's gotten a lot smarter in terms of understanding our defense. But he still has a ways to go, and he will be a leader on this team because he's going to be a guy that has a lot of experience.
Thank you, Coach Mark.
Thanks.